Hi there, YouTube. Extreme Trains here. So once again, you are seeing the inside of my car. It's nice weather today, so the sunroof is open, which is a bit exciting. But anyway, I digress. So as you may know, I live in the southern part of Sydney in New South Wales, Australia. Although, given how many people keep asking me where they can find things in other countries, perhaps you don't know that's where I live. But anyway, if you haven't guessed it by now, that is where I live. I'm on my way to visit my parents down the south coast, and for once when I'm going, I'm not in a super rush time sensitive situation. So I'm going to today do a bit of a old-fashioned style toy hunt, looking for particularly the 80th anniversary diecast engines, but also if there's anything else fun that pops out to us. So the stops for today's little toy hunt adventure is first Wollongong, which is a city just south of Sydney. In the CBD, there is both a Casey's Toys and also a Target, although they're both quite small because they're inside a city shopping mall. And then we have a Big W, which is in both Adapter, and there's one in Warrawong. Then there is a much larger Target and much larger Casey's Toys in Shellharbour, which will be the last stop of the day. So we're going to take you on a little journey as we hunt for the mysterious 80th anniversary merchandise, and particularly the Storybook Thomas, which I have not seen anywhere, obviously. Otherwise, you would know about it because there'd be a review. All right, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. Sorry for the handheld camera situation, but here we go. So it was very busy in Casey's Toys and Target Wollongong, so I've just got pictures because I don't like to record this kind of videos when there's lots of people around. I don't want to get children, I don't know, random strangers in the videos, and I appreciate that makes people uncomfortable. So what I'm showing you now is what you could see in Casey's Toys. Nothing new, unfortunately, even though on their website they do show the new Thomas diecasts as like the little placeholder for the diecast small engines. Now, one of the first people to do that in the world, I think, actually. You can see here we've got just the usual kind of stuff. I'm just showing you some pictures of that now. And then I will also show you the Brio. They have quite a good Brio range. Brio is so expensive. I talked about this in my Brio review, but I mean, people said that Thomas Wood and Thomas Wooden Railway, etc., was an expensive toy. It certainly was, but Brio was extremely expensive as well. And I think that was the mistake that Thomas Wooden Railway made, was that if you're going to have something expensive, you've got to have a world. And I think they, as I talked about in some other videos, failed to create that world. What you will see right now, though, is a very interesting set. This is a seemingly like parallel import, the Thomas and Nia cargo set. Given the style, it's clearly, getting on 4 or 5 years old. It was discounted a lot, so it was previously over $100 set, discounted down to $50. I did not buy it, but it has a very interesting snapshot in time for some weird Thomas merchandise, and it seems to be hanging around. I think there might have been 2 of them on the shelf there, but yeah, it was a weird scenario to see that there. And then what was also weird is, as you can see on the screen now, Casey's Toys had this Chuggington set, which has also been there presumably for years and years and years. So I will show you some photos of that. A very unusual set. And again, I wonder, from looking at this set, I wasn't really aware of this line when it came out, but I do wonder whether it made some of the same mistakes as Thomas would, in that it had different track connectors than other kind of trains of that type. So I do wonder whether that played any part into that. But yeah, that was still there all these years later. Now, on to Target. So Target had a decent Thomas selection, including some of the more recent All Engines Go sets. It also had this really interesting and unique, as far as I know, like a retail exclusive set that comes with a Thomas and also a Bruno. And you'll see on the art, Bruno is kind of like vibing off there on his own. That would be a pretty cool set. I would probably have picked it up if I didn't already have a Bruno for my motorized Thomas collection, if we can call it that. But yeah, that was an interesting set. I was kind of surprised to see that. Otherwise, you can see there wasn't much else in the way of new stock. There was a couple of little metal engines on the pegs, but clearly that hadn't been refreshed recently. And then we had a couple of the core moments, mainly Thomas sitting there. You can see I lined them all up. They were a bit of a mess. And also we did have the new lift and load barrel set. So that has started to appear with a full frontal assault on the different stores. So yeah, not a great selection of new 80th anniversary stuff in Wollongong, but I was glad to see that at least some of it is starting to show up.
Alrighty, everyone. I found somewhere which is a bit less busy that I can talk. So there's actually a Toymate now in Warrawong, which I did not know. I'll give you a show of the stock that's here. Again, quite a good selection of the metal engines, but again, bloody Sandy, the peg sitter, I think is the reason why they're not being restocked to get in the new 80th anniversary engines. I'll put this one back where it belongs. There you go. You can see we've got a bit of that there. There's that set again. It's really unusual. Second time I've seen that. Wonder where it's coming from. This is a new store, so like there must still be stock floating around. You can see there's that kid stuff. Lots of these All Engines Go multi-packs. The race pack, which I recently reviewed. Still got one of those super towers, which is hilarious because, you know, for that wave 1 of the new minis for this year. One of these track packs. Move it up here. Thomas Wooden Railway shed, which I would love to get, but I can't justify $180 for that. Which version of the line is over. Yeah. Interesting, this is a fun find. Oh, and these weird things. Just something I've noticed is that these shops are still trying to sell this Lightyear stuff literally years after the movie came out. I actually bought all of these and that. Never opened them. Let me know if you'd like to see a review of those. But this is Big W in Warrawong. You can see again here. Wave 1. Still got some of these. 2 Thomases, a Gordon, and a Percy, and another Thomas. And all these bloody Sandys. She's literally the reason they aren't restocking, I'm sure of it. Should I buy them just so that they restock? And you can see some of these sets. A couple of the big set there. And this stupid Tuomas Thomas. Where that's come from, I don't know.
Hello. All right, we're in the car. You can see I'm in an underground car park this time. No nice sky from the skylight. This is now in Adapto, so there's a big W here, which I'm going to take a look at. Again, we'll see if there is one which facilitates, oh, there goes the light, facilitates a video recording. Otherwise, I'll take some photos of what we find. So far, some interesting stuff on the shelves, but nothing that I want. So let the hunt continue. Unfortunately.
Got a bit more here to look at. You can see we've got these single packs. No Jameses, unfortunately. There's Percy at the back there. Again. So I'm going to say about that. A couple of these packs here. One box of the Wave 1. We've got 2 Nias. 2 Thomases. And again, no 80th logo. We come down, we've got a couple of these sets, some more of these ones, which we've still seen before. All of these I've actually reviewed, some more of this stupid Thomas. Everything's all in the wrong spot, sorry. I don't know what that was, the Shima set, oh no. Bloody Thomas, there's the diesel set. We've got one of these cranky sets, appeared from somewhere, one of those. And then there's that one. So no dice.
So I'm just back in from the Shell Harbour Stockland, which has the Toymate and the Target. I'll show you the footage of what happened in Target after this, because, yeah, I have this. Anyway, it'll make sense when I show the footage. But what I did find in the Casey's Toys there, sorry, it used to be a Toymate, now it's Casey's Toys, is someone had just put out a brand new fresh case of the metal engine collection, the small engines. So, you know, your Percy, your Thomas, and the Storybook Thomas. And I had a look through, and it was clearly a fresh case because it had, you know, the 2 Percys, there was the Thomases, there was the re-release of the All Engines Go Harold, Whiff, and the Kana. And there was missing one Thomas. And so I have a distinct feeling that box had a Chase Storybook Thomas in it, but it was already gone because all the other engines were still there. And if it looked like a full box had just been put out, except that there was one Thomas missing. So it could be a normal Thomas that was missing. Also could have been that it was a Storybook Thomas that was missing. So this close. Otherwise, they only had other all engines go stock in there. So I'll put a picture now up. It was very busy, so I couldn't get any video recording. So overall, for what was a, en route, but a 2.5-hour adventure, we've gone to 4 different shopping malls. I've only managed to get one Percy and one Thomas of the new 80th anniversary line in mint in box, and they were $9 each, or $7 each, $8 each. You'll see the price tags on there when I show them on the items, but they were very expensive. So credit where credit is due. There's been some really good merchandise, but then it's been a lot of really weird decisions and poor decisions, I think, that have been made. And it would be one thing to short pack the Railway Series Thomas so that in every box there's only one. I think that is maybe a bit more reasonable and makes, to some extent, makes sense. It's a collector's item. A lot of kids today have no idea what the top Railway Series books are, and so you don't want it to become a peg sitter. But I think the idea of making it a chase item, so apparently I think only 1 in 10 boxes of the small diecast engines have the Railway Series Thomas in it. That's insane. That is unhinged, insane behavior. It's extremely anti-consumer. I hate it. I hate it more almost than blind boxes, because at least if you bought a whole box of minis, you knew you were going to get every single mini in that box. Whereas you can go and buy from some retailers whole boxes, 10 push-along engines, and you won't get a Chase Thomas. You could buy 10 boxes and only get one. That's insane. So, yeah, I'm very frustrated about that. And this has been my first experience seeing it in person, because it's the first time I've seen the metal engines actually on the shelves. And I have wasted so much time trying to find this engine, which shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. Merchandise, it's not meant to be a game. And what I don't understand about this is I haven't bought anything extra that I wouldn't have already bought. It doesn't make Mattel, you can't make money from not selling things. I'm not going to buy another ordinary Thomas instead of the Railway Series Thomas. I want the Railway Series Thomas variant. That's the whole point. You can't sell more of those if they're not available to purchase. Anyway, that's my rant over. I'll finish out with showing you the footage I took in Target before the shelf collapsed on me, which is perhaps a spoiler of what's about to happen. I hope you like this type of video. It is a bit more rough and ready and not quite as polished as my usual video, and it's on my main phone as opposed to on my phone that I use for video purposes. So you might see a difference in how the quality and the rendering of it looks, and I apologize if it's not to your taste. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this interesting. Good luck on your Thomas and Friends hunts. And yeah, Godspeed to everyone trying to get the metal engine Storybook Thomas, because I'm seeing him pop up online. People are finding him, but yeah, I would not be surprised if only I think one person in Australia might have found it, and that would probably be it. Anyway, that's all I've got time for. Thank you very much for watching. This is Extreme Trains. Bye.
Okay, so there's currently some engines trapped under here. I've tried to fix this shelf, but it has just collapsed when I've been trying to get into the stuff underneath, so it clearly wasn't attached correctly. Otherwise, so there was some Thomases and James multi-packs under there. So it's up there up the top. Got some Thomas and some Percy. More of that trauma.